As a Samoan, our land defines who I am, where I come from. It was walked on by my ancestors, and it will continue to be there when I'm gone. And that's one of the things that my father instilled in us. When I left the island for school, I wish that I learned more on the Samoan dancing because that's who I am and that's my culture. And that's why I opted for Kirena to be a part of this dance group. And especially this time and age where there's so much of the English speaking now in the families and not really so much opportunities for some of the kids to participate in the Samoan culture or Fa Samoa. This is one of the reasons why I bring her here. Just kind of appreciate her where she comes from. Oh. Anina, you're sick. Most of our childhood, we grew up in Septimu, and then our father would always bring us to his side of the family here in Itzule and Fungtumun. My parents were very strict with us, mainly because there were 6 girls and 4 boys. Our first language was always Samoan, and I know it's surprising to many people, but I never really knew English well until I was in college. And they always say, oh man, you're such a fob, growing up. But it was because my dad was very, very strict on the language that we used in our home. He graduated from Valparaiso Law School in Indiana. My dad was an attorney by trade. And when he met my mom, their main plan was to stay off island and continue their family. However, his father asked him to come back home, and many of his elders asked him to come home and become a chief and serve our local community. And that's one of the reasons why they moved back home, is to help the family. He always felt that helping and providing the service to someone who really needed, especially in the legal arena, that was his passion. So in the late 70s, our father represented the Poiloa family. High Chief Poiloa at that time of Malaimi village believed that the Mormons were taking lands in Malaimi that was owned by the family. It was communal land on that case. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and in the end, my father and the Poiloa family won. The Supreme Court granted the family back their lands. There were several other cases following that, but it was that first case that set the precedence for the following cases.
The people of American Samoa are considered U.S. nationals. If nationals move off island to, say, California, they still can't vote or hold certain jobs unless they pay a fee and apply for citizenship. While the other major territories have achieved citizenship by birth through acts of Congress, it never happened in American Samoa.
What we call the U.S. citizenship case was an effort to make it a right for people born in American Samoa to be born U.S. citizens. The second important piece of that is that it's a decision that would be made by federal courts and not as the collective expression of the people of American Samoa.
Overlooking beautiful Pago Pago Bay, the safest, the best, altogether the most superb harbor in the South Seas.
The legal beginnings of American Samoa started in 1900. Because we have such an excellent harbor, they saw that as a very useful place to build a coaling station for the U.S. Navy. It's when the United States flag was first raised on the island of Tutuila, and the deeds of cession were signed by the Matai, or the family leaders of American Samoa. We gave up our sovereignty to the United States. They promised to protect Samoan lands, culture, and other natural resources. The United States government was faced with an important constitutional question. Does the Constitution follow the flag? When I'm talking to students, one of the examples I like to use is the US flag. And they all know that there are 50 stars on the flag because there are 50 states. And then I ask them, but where is the star for American Samoa? As US nationals, we have allegiance to the United States. And it's a well-known fact that American Samoa has one of the highest enlistment rates in the US military. They swear an oath to defend the United States Constitution, and they serve under the US flag. So what does it mean to defend a flag and a constitution that does not give you all of its rights? And when I say defend, sometimes with their very own lives.
Today is Memorial Day, and we held a short service here on the Veterans Monument, and I had the honor to lay the wreath for the Veterans of Foreign Wars Association. We are post 9931 here in American Samoa. I know I lost a first cousin in Vietnam. My two brothers were in Vietnam. My uncle fought in the Korean War as a Marine.
So I saw the opportunity to join the service, and then also a way to leave the island. Hopefully that I'll serve the first 4 years, then get out and pursue the education. However, I end up serving 30 years instead of going to school. And after 30 years in the Marine Corps, I returned. It's a way to support the family at the time. It was only my mom and my dad were working to support 15 children.
Our family is a military family. I'm hoping someday that we can be recognized for our service and then maybe granted citizenship of the United States of America.
A lot of Samoans now are in the military, and they went to college and they joined the JLTC, then they went to ROTC in the college level, but they have to be citizens to become officers. But for the Commander-in-Chief to tell us what to do all the time, knowingly, you don't even have a chance to vote for them, better yet, to even become a U.S. president, because we're not U.S. citizens. I don't see any reason why we cannot be U.S. Citizens by birth. There was really nobody give us any answers of what might happen, whether if they changed our political stance, instead of U.S. national become U.S. citizen, exactly what's going to happen. Do we lose our Samoa? Do we lose the culture? And do we lose our land? I think those are the main questions or the reasons why everybody's hesitant to become U.S. citizen at birth. I'd rather keep the land and instead of become a U.S. citizen. That's my personal opinion. I can be a U.S. national forever.
This is Tio'ali'i, or this is the cemetery of where our high chiefs are laid to rest. And coming here, it always keeps you grounded. One of my greatest fears to just make decisions that will not be beneficial for us in the future. As a U.S. national, I do not support becoming a U.S. citizen. If the U.S. Constitution were to fully be applied here in American Samoa, we would lose what's precious to us, which is our lands, our language, and our culture. The origin of the Samoan culture is love and service. To see those that came show their support and love is very humbling, and it just reminds me how much my dad influenced our community. It was a very heartbreaking event for myself and my siblings, event for our families, because we've lost our leader.
We'll see you later. A man of principle and conviction, a foe fearlessly championed causes that matter to him, his upbringing, his faith, his love for his people. His kindness and warmth and wisdom endeared him to all who had the privilege of knowing him. His leadership and vision and wisdom will be sorely missed, not just by his colleagues, but also by us, his children, and his grandchildren.
You know, when I talk about protecting land, and we're protecting it for future generations, I think the actions we take are for generations that are not even born. And our greatest hope is that we will have something to give them, not for them to turn around one day and say, "Dad, what did you do?" When they came and bought all this land and took away your language and robbed you of your culture, where were you?